All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Our next guest is a very prolific author, and I believe she's been with us before, right? Am I right about that?
She's very enjoyable to have on.
Karna Bodman is on the phone. What an incredible story she has herself, and she just happens to be a very talented author. So we're going to cover a couple of different books that she's got out there we want to direct you to. If you look at the streaming thing we're doing right now, that's the Castle Bravo book, but I don't think that's the cover that's on Amazon. I think it's a different cover. Karna Bodman is the author of that, and she's got a new book called Trust But Verify. Let's find out what she's up to. Oh, and did I mention that she served in the Reagan White House?
Isn't she impressive? She's so amazing.
And I think we kind of got stuck on that a little bit last time she was with us. Good morning, Karna. How you doing?
Well, hello, Larry. Hello, Robin. So great to be back with you, especially for my state of residence, Florida. We've been Florida residents for 20 years.
Nice.
And where are you in Naples? Where are you again?
Well, actually, right now, I happen to be out in Southern California doing things, but I will be back there, of course, for season, and I'm always there for the season, and I have several book tour events coming up with a new book coming out next month, and lots of things to talk about this morning.
And that's the one, Trust But Verify?
Absolutely. I'm very excited about that one because it's the brand new one. It's the fifth in my, we're kind of calling it the White House National Security series, if you will. They're continuing characters in the book. Each is a standalone, but continuing characters, so it's kind of fun if people read them in order, but they don't have to. And the new one, Trust But Verify, maybe some of your listeners will recall that phrase from our friend President Reagan.
Yeah.
Were you friends with him? Did you have a friendship?
Well, it's hard to. I mean, I wouldn't presume to say I was a close friend of any president, but I did see him just about every day since I had an office in the West Wing, and he was so warm and so friendly. I can't imagine a better boss, and he wasn't just friendly to the senior staff or cabinet members. The man was terrific to all levels of folks, if you know what I mean. For example, he'd take time in the middle of an afternoon to walk across West Exec. That's a little driveway between the West Wing and the old executive office building where most of the staff was, big building there. And he'd go over there. He'd take the elevator down to the lowest level and go visit the White House telephone operators to thank them for their great job. That's
awesome. That sounds that's like a Downton Abbey story, isn't it, Robin?
Yeah, it is.
An American Downton Abbey story.
You got it. So the idea of Trust But Verify, which is up on Amazon for pre-order, if anybody wants to check it out, it'll be out in September, and all the books are on my website. People don't often remember websites. Just the name is Karna Bodman, like your bod, B-O-D-M.
Right.
Karna Bodman, yes.
Beautiful, by the way.
So is Samantha Reed is the character in the two books that we have, right?
Absolutely. In fact, she started. Here's the situation. I have a new publisher I'm very excited about, and they're the ones bringing out the new book, Trust But Verify, in hardback. And then they said, okay, we want to reissue your entire backlist, meaning the previous 4 books. So I had to get the rights back from previous publishers, which is fine. We worked a deal on that. And what they did was they put new covers on them, the new book, the previous books.
That explains that. Okay.
And I had to go back actually and revise many of them because if they've been out a few years, you have to update the technology.
Sure,
Look, I can't have my hero rushing into the Situation Room amidst the clatter of fax machines, right? No, we're not going to do
that.
Right. Right. I saw one of those fake pictures of a cell phone for seniors. You open it up and there's a dial.
Yeah, exactly. And there were a lot of other things in the books that they're totally updated, and they're all there on Amazon. If you stick my name in there, you'll see them. Because several things in books that I wrote a few years ago have come true. later it kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Oh, well, I hope these things don't come true. I mean, what was the one in Castle Bravo? It was about an electromagnet bomb that goes off, right?
Well, actually, that is a very real threat. We've seen a lot of stories about cyber attacks and the threat to our electricity grid and all that sort of thing. Well, several years ago, I had a conversation with a major general who's head of our entire missile defense system, and I'm into missile defense. I think it's a really cool idea, Reagan's idea. And I said, "What keeps you up at night?" And he said, "Let me tell you." He said, "Think about it. If some country doesn't like us, they're out there, somehow gets hold of a small nuclear device. Now, hey, look, Pakistan's got 100 of them, and Iran, whatever. And they also get hold of a delivery vehicle, meaning, like a missile you could strap it onto and shoot it off. Okay. And they're off one of our coasts and, say, a disguised fishing boat or something. You'd never find them. So what they're going to do is not to aim it at Tampa or LA or New York, which of course would be devastating. No. What they're going to do is aim it straight up in the air. And if you detonate something, even a small device, say 50 to 100 miles up, and a Scud missile, simple one, can go that far. What it does, it doesn't kill you on the ground, but it creates what we call an electromagnetic pulse, EMP. And what that does, it destroys all the electronics on the ground. You'd have no internet, no cell phones, no bank records, no refrigeration, transportation, aviation. He looked at me and said, "Karna, it would set us back to the year 1910, and don't think our enemies aren't looking at it." And I'll tell you, I clipped an item out of the Wall Street Journal several months ago before we had that meeting with Kim over there, from North Korea. Right. He had threatened an EMP attack on the United States.
Oh,
so,
wow.
This is not a new idea, you see, but I had to write a story about it. So I wrote Castle Bravo, which you have there, and that's the fourth in my series. And then the same heroine, Samantha Reed, who's on the White House staff, appears in the new book, Trust But Verify. So there you are.
And that's what's great about your characters, because Samantha and then you throw in Trip Adams, they have different jobs to do, and then they have to depend on themselves to make these jobs succeed. But then your characters also depend on each other.
Always. And in the new book, Trust But Verify, Trip Adams is the boyfriend, love interest. It's always fun to have a guy and a girl working together, right?
Yeah.
Always.
You have to get a little romance in there for all the readers. But in the new book, Trust But Verify, I have introduced a new character along with Samantha Reed, who is an FBI special agent. And I had a lot of sources for that because I worked with some FBI people when I was on the NSC staff in the White House and all that. And they have a completely different challenge here, totally different challenge. And I'll just say that that one is more of a financial thriller, if you will, because the bad guys in the new story are Russian oligarchs. Okay.
Oh.
Now we know a lot about those people. We don't know quite how corrupt they are, but and the guys in the story have lost a lot of money through sanctions, and this is all very up to date. And so they got to figure out how to replenish the coffers. How to really make a whole lot of money. So they figure out how to target a certain upcoming conference, which is very real. That happens every year, of some international financiers. Because imagine something: if you were able to wipe out a whole bunch of Federal Reserve governors and finance ministers and all that, what would happen to the stock market? I mean, just imagine.
Yeah, I would
there
imagine.
You go. Take a dive.
I would imagine.
Okay. So the oligarchs short the exchanges, right? And plan this big plot. Well, the question is, how does my heroine and her FBI agent ever find out anything about it or suspect or do anything or stop anything. That's the story of the thriller.
That's great.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's just why you're so popular. I have a copy of Castle Bravo with the old cover, but I have the book. If I have a listener who would like it, give me a call right now and I will leave it here for you. The rest of us have to go buy it. Look for Karna on what do you call it? Amazon. I found all the books on there, by the way. And tell me your website again. Is it your name, right?
Yeah, I have a little bit of a strange name. It's an old Swedish family name. It's Karna, Karna, and then Bodman, B as in boy, Odman, KarnaBodman.com. And it's all there. In fact, all the books are there with links, and there's also a gallery of pictures from the Reagan days and current days, and there's also a list of events that I've got coming up. Speeches in Florida and different places. So I'd love it if someone wants to visit the website, send me a note. I always answer.
Absolutely. Nice. And if you're ever in Ocala, take a moment and stop by and say hi.
I certainly will. You guys are great. I know I've been on your show before, and you've got a very popular show over there.
Thank you, Karna. Thank you for that. And thank you for being on the show with us today.
Absolutely. You have a good one, and I look forward to getting back to Florida.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Okay.
If your children can't get enough of art class, the Appleton Museum of Art has got you covered. After school and weekend art classes and one-day workshops are available for pre-K through teens, covering everything from drawing and painting to clay. Classes begin as early as September,